Rusty. Yes, I love trash.
Welcome to the first of hopefully many episodes of the Bastard Reads. I have a monthly subscription to Westfield Comics. I get my comics every month from them. I've been with them for over 10 years now. They've been very good to me. I'm not much into going to comic book shops. I'd rather have my stuff delivered in the mail. It's just more convenient for me. That way I don't have to worry about having a pull box, or I don't have to worry about the comic shop not having what I want. I really recommend you checking them out if going to a comic book shop really isn't your cup of tea. Like I said, they've been really good to me, and I've got nothing but great things to say about them. The first comic I'm going to look at is Batman and Robin, number 1 and 2. Originally, I was supposed to get issue number 1 last month, but there was a snafu, and I actually got the wrong comic by mistake. I contacted my Westfield representative, and they were able to correct the error, and I got the number 1 comic this month, so I was very pleasantly surprised. This comic's written by Grant Morrison with art by Frank Whiteley. I have to say, so far, so good. If you're not following Batman, you may be a little lost. There have been things that going on prior to this series, Battle for the Cowl. I really haven't been reading it, but I know what's been going on, so I can pick it up from here. It's a pretty good jump on point for me. I'm kind of hit or miss with the stuff Grant Morrison does. I really liked his run on the Invisibles and New X-Men. I even liked his All-Star Superman. Some of his independent stuff I really didn't get into. I didn't like Final Crisis, but I won't get into that here. This is a really good start to the series. I think Morrison has a really good handle on the characters, the interaction between Dick Grayson and Damian, and also the interaction between Dick and Alfred. I really like where they're going with the circus freaks. I'm interested to see what happens there. I'm under the impression that these are new characters. I don't remember them from any previous Batman series, but honestly, I'm okay with that. Usually I'm a little apprehensive about people introducing new villains, especially since Batman has a ton of villains that they could be taking advantage of. But these villains work. They kept me interested, and I'm eager to see where this series goes. I hope Morrison invents more villains or takes some old villains and gives them a modern new spin on them. I think that would work very well. Great series. I recommend it very much if you can pick up the first 2 issues. Number 2 should be pretty easy to find. Number 1, you might have a little bit of trouble finding it. My one criticism of this series is that while Frank Whiteley has beautiful art, like some of the scenes in issue 1, I would love to see on posters. My one concern is that he's not very consistent with his art. I hope that they're doing things at least 2 months in advance so that they don't start to fall behind. I think that was some of the problem with All-Star Superman, was that it started falling behind. I don't know if it was due to artwork, but hopefully that doesn't happen here. I really recommend pick this up. Next up, I'm looking at X Factor number 45 and 46. This is written by Peter David with art by Marco Santucci and Valentine DeLandro. Valentine does artwork for part of 45, and then 46 is all of Santucci's. What's really funny is at the top of number 46, DeLandro's name is there, but on the inside cover, Santucci's name is under the penciling. I guess they messed up. I hope they correct that error, or at least give Santucci their due for penciling, because I'd feel bad if they didn't. These are interesting issues. There's a lot going on here. You'll be lost if you haven't read previous issues. So far, Peter has really developed this storyline pretty well. I've been following this series since the first issue, and Peter's done a pretty good job of taking characters that probably nobody wanted and creating something interesting around them. It's very intriguing. My one gripe with this arc, this story arc, is that there's a lot going on. I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 different stories going on in each issue, so it feels very much like a soap opera, which is both good. I just think he has a few too many balls in the air. I think there's so much going on, there's almost too much going on. So it kind of has the potential of turning new readers off, especially since they'd have to go back and read previous issues to really grasp what's going on. I also feel that the storyline is starting to be dragged out way too much. It's taking too long to come to a resolution. Like I said, I think it's because there are so many things happening that when Peter gets done throwing this ball in the air, he has to go to the next one and continue throwing them up. And it's I can see where they're all tied together, and it's going to be interesting when everything comes to fruition. It's just, I think it's taking a little too long for that fruition to occur. I hope he's leading towards a big issue number 50. We're only 4 issues away from that, so I'm thinking that's where the proverbial shit is going to hit the fan. And, I just hope I haven't lost interest by then. I mean, that's 4 months from now. I will say that both issues had some pretty decent surprises. They weren't shocking, jaw-dropping moments. They were just like, oh, that's pretty funny. I didn't see that coming. So, a good series. I don't know if I can really recommend it. If you're a fan of Peter David and his first run on X Factor way back in the 90s, you'll probably like this one. There's a lot of issues to collect if you haven't started reading, so you probably want to let this pass you by. Maybe pick up the trades, but I've been reading it since the beginning, and, so far so good. Next up, and I'm sure you've been waiting for this, Captain America Reborn, issue number 1. This is written by Ed Brubaker, with art by Brian Hitch. I loved the artwork in this. Brian Hitch is an amazing artist. I love all of the comics he does. The storyline is alright. I really don't know if I buy the fact that Steve Rogers isn't dead. He's off in this, parallel universe, or he's out of time, or some crap. I don't think it works. I think it's a big mistake to bring Steve Rogers back. We've already got Captain America replaced. Why bring him back? You're just trivializing Steve's death. I don't like it, and honestly, I hope they fail in their attempt to bring him back from out of time or whatever, wherever he is. I hope he stays dead. If you're a fan of Captain America, I'm sorry, but he has to. Marvel has to realize that they can't kill off somebody major like that and then expect to bring them back a year from now, 2 years from now. It just cheapens death. Death is supposed to be permanent. These writers have to realize that once they do something as major as killing off a major part of their universe, there's going to be repercussions to that. And that means never bringing them back. There are a few instances where it's really worked, but for the most part, when a character dies, they should stay dead. I suspect by the end of this series, I am going to be very pissed off. I recommend picking it up for the artwork, beautiful artwork, but I really don't think you're going to enjoy the story. Really nothing spectacular or important here.